Hello and welcome back to yet another Off the Shelf, back to an ongoing series.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the CEO of racism again.
You're being mean. You are making references to jokes I am not yet aware of because my semester has been very, very hard and I did not have time.
Being fair, I've sent you some of the memes and you've read the manga that those memes came from.
You sent me some of the memes?
Yes.
I don't think you have.
I absolutely have.
I don't think you have.
I've shown some of these to you in person.
I do not remember this.
You have the memory of a goldfish.
Anyways, while he looks that up, I would like to inform you all that we are reviewing yet another volume of Frieren. I do not remember that.
You reacted to it too.
Yeah. We're reviewing yet another volume of Frieren. So we talked last time we did a volume of Frieren, when we did volume 8. We had caught up, the two of us, to the manga that was currently being released. So it took a few months for us to get book 9, and then book 10's not coming out until February 20th for us. So it'll be a little bit before we get back to this. And the reason why I said it's unfortunate that I'm not currently caught up, I really had a shit semester at school, and I did not have time to watch Frieren. It's still coming out, so I still have time to catch up and be week to week on it, but I genuinely have not had time to watch it looks so... I've seen the first 3 episodes. I have. I didn't have time to continue after that, because after the first 3 episodes came out, then I got really, really busy, and I just have not managed to squeeze in the extra time every week. For anything, really. So we're reviewing book 9. We've gotten significantly far in this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm liking it more and more. I'm gonna be honest, I feel there was a little bit of a falter, book 2 or 3, but since book 4, this has just been all the way uphill for me, you know? I've been really enjoying it, and I really liked book 9. This one's great.
For me, Frieren is comfort food in manga form. It's always just so pleasant to come back to it.
Yeah, it's got funny moments, it's got emotional moments. You kind of
racism.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Quit making meme references I don't know.
You've read the part of the manga. We had a discussion about this when it came out in the manga.
Quit it.
I think I literally made the same jokes that they're making online now when we read the manga.
So we were ahead of the curve.
Yes. Look, it's just the manga. We've read the manga.
I'm also pretty sure, we were laughing about this because it happened with Solo Leveling. I think it happened with Frieren too. We originally made a video talking about both Solo Leveling and Frieren and loving them before even Gart and some of the other big anti-tubers came out with videos being oh my god, this is awesome. And we were we're so far ahead, we're not cool. Because our videos were not popular. Which kind of sucks. it's a little funny, you have to admit.
But my comments on Frieren's accused racism actually do come into play in this volume again, though. If you're coming here from the anime and you're man, when do these demons have a major arc again? We get a good one started here.
Yeah, so, it is a little unfortunate that we're caught up to the manga, so we couldn't get a copy of Volume 10 in English and paper in time to do both books together, because I think they do make up one arc, essentially, and it would have been really nice to have the finishing of that. I mean, we could have gone and read it online pirated somewhere, or, found a place to read, the scanlation, but we haven't been doing that so far with most of the manga that we review. We've been just what books are available in English, what we have, you know? Mm-hmm. And it helps space it out a little bit.
Whenever we do get to Frieren Season 2, when it comes out, this arc is probably going to be one of the big ones, right on the same level as that one, the first encounter with the demons.
Well, this one's wonderful. So, our book starts off with them continuing into Northern Territory. We have got Frieren on a Boat as our first arc. It was a nice little, cute arc. Spoilers, obviously, for book 9 of Frieren, but it was a very cute little arc. They have to cross the sea, and there's a discussion about how, winter currents and storms create really dangerous, like, water crossing, so they have to wait, and then she's out of money because she bought too many grimoires because it's Frieren. And so the shipwright agrees. He says, I'll take you across, but take me to this island. I want to get the biography of Himmel the Hero, the autobiography, which apparently he accidentally lost his unpublished memoirs in this, like, church.
And someone found it and published it.
No,
they
it
didn't.
was unpublished
It's
still.
unpublished
Yeah.
still.
And then she picked it up and she was like, oh, it's just our daily stuff. But I guess she looked so...
Sorry, I hope you guys know that while I re-skimmed through it, I read this like a month ago. So if I get some things wrong here.
But she looked so... I guess she looked so kind of like... I don't think sad's the right word. Reminiscent or something. The dude was just like, you can keep it. You know? And I feel like I love every time that I see Frieren kind of thinking back to Himmel and her party members and just having these really kind of positive and fond memories. It almost feels like she's regaining some of that time she lost with them when she left, not thinking about the time that their lives would take. And I kind of like that. Like, it's very cute. So then we get into the kind of second, like, little mini... So there's, like, 3 mini arcs right at the beginning of this volume, right? And the first one is the Boat. The second one is the bridge. So apparently their party 30 years ago, or longer than 30 years ago, like 60 years ago, came across this chasm, right, that they had to cross. And there was this dwarf building a bridge, and it was unfinished at the time. He's finally gotten it finished, guys! Except no one uses it because there's a bunch of evil demon birds. So they go kill the evil demon birds so that people can use it. Because technically the bridge is Frieren's, like, gift. It's like her reward from what they did earlier, which is pretty cool. I think it's fun to see little, like, long-term, like, scale projects like that.
I will say that particular chapter, like, it was a video game side quest. Like,
it was.
You could see the exclamation mark above where the side, like, talk to this guy to get the side quest, and there's, like, a little reward for completing it. But that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just, like, it's just kind of funny.
And then I actually thought the third mini story was the most video gamey of all of them, because they come into this little adventurers town in the Arctic, sort of like the ice, and they're talking about, like, the economics of adventurer towns when they're that far away from civilization, and they're like, we know that these people mine really valuable crystals, so we can raise our prices at the market. But it was super sweet that in the end, like, Frieren was a little bit sad about the idea that they were just going to mine away kind of the beautiful site. And then the man who commissioned them was like, thank you for helping me protect it. And she's like, you don't want to destroy it? And he was like, no, I grew up here. This is a site that, like, is of my land. I want to protect it. That was really nice, because I feel like we've seen a lot of Frieren dealing with change happening over time in the places she visits. And this was kind of like I want this to stay the same, you know? And then we start about, like, maybe I'd say, like, a third of the way into the volume, we start the actual arc that's going to continue on to volume 10, which is the Golden City and Macht of the Golden Land. So there's a city in the northern reaches. It's the Fortress of Weiss, the Fortress City of Weiss, and there is a demon inside of it, Macht. Forgot his name.
You literally just said it.
I know, Macht, and he has this curse power that cannot be undone. It's the Midas Touch.
Yeah, it's AoE Midas Touch.
Yeah, it's AoE Midas Touch, and the borders are slowly expanding, and so the Mages Association is kind of trying to keep a barrier around it, but essentially this demon is turning things, like, to gold, and it's not something that can be undone, and a lot of people have died to this. And the man who's currently watching the barrier is like, he grew up in this area. That's like, this where his home was. And so his goal is to undo the curse to gold. Not just kill Macht, but undo the curse to gold, which no one has figured out how to do. And there's some interesting kind of meta about how, so, like, this demon had, like, he was living with the people in peace, and he had this cuff put on him, like, of servitude and obedience, and he was told, like, be kind to these people, serve them, and harbor no malice. And they were like, well, something's wrong with his bracelet, right? Because obviously he's killed a ton of people, you know? And then, like, the horrifying thing to find out that no, nothing is wrong with his bracelet, but when they bound him, no one realized that, because demons canonically in this universe do not have the same, like, their brains and emotions do not work the same as humans.
Yeah.
Like, physiological differences, basically. Is that he literally has no concept of servitude or malice. And so he doesn't see what he's doing as actions of malice. He doesn't understand that. Just like he doesn't understand the idea of like serving in the way that it was meant. And so there's nothing wrong with the cuff. It just never worked on him. Not the way that it was intended to.
I think there was a bit of a monkey's paw situation going on here.
Fuck you. Goddamn
what did
key.
Oh. God, you're still holding on to that.
Still holding on to that fucking key.
No, you're not. It was inside your hand. Don't make me stick another key in your hand.
Don't make me stick this knife in you. But so basically, Frieren at first is like, nah, I'm not gonna fight him, right? Because she's lost to him before. Like, Frieren has lost to this demon before. Like, in a way that's, like, impactful enough that she doesn't think she can win again. Which is interesting, because we've not yet really run into that. Not a whole ton. And so they're kind of, the beginning of the arc is that they're kind of in the process of figuring out what to do. You know, making plans. They met with the demon. He seems... I suppose it seems odd that he seems very reasonable and personable. You know, like he's not...
Yeah, well, Frieren just kind of changes her mind about not going in there at one point. It's like, parlay.
Yeah. But...
Because he's actively talking. Because
To the protector.
Yeah.
Who used to be a person living in the city and therefore is like a citizen of Weiss.
And that guy actively has been able to go in and talk to the demon.
Yeah, like civilly. Yeah. And so it's interesting what's happening, and there was a little thing at the end. There was a little thing about Macht at the end where he was remembering back to how he first met humans and stuff. And they dropped the little thing that apparently he feels affection for humans, but the way he demonstrates that is not what you would think. Like,
that's where that monkey's paw's coming in. And so he's doing a lot of his... seems to be out of affection, not out of malice.
But his idea of affection is like, how about both of you fight me, and whoever wins, I will let escape. Because I feel affection for humans. You know, but that's still one of you dies, and the other one is potentially maimed forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting. I think it's going to be...
He's a big mix-up from all the previous demons we've seen before.
Because he's so reasonable, it seems. Like, he's not actively...
Like, he is one fix of a flaw away from being actually livable side-by-side with people.
Yeah, and they've confirmed that he's not lying when he means that. Like, he did live side-by-side with these people for over 20 years without hurting anyone. You know what I want to know? What happened? What flipped in his brain between 80 years ago and 60 years ago that caused this?
It also adds a bit of an interesting wrinkle to the morale. Because now it's starting to be like, okay, before we were like, the demons, they don't feel the same way people do. Now we're starting to see, well, they still don't feel the same way people do. They do, or they have the capacity to eventually feel that.
No,
maybe
they don't have the capacity to necessarily feel all of it, but they have the capacity to learn and understand.
Yeah.
Like, because he talks about, it's not that he feels all emotions. He definitely does say that he feels affection, but there's certain emotions he talks about where he doesn't say he feels it, he says he understands it.
But like that affection, that is a huge leap from what we've seen previously with demons.
Yeah.
Which the only emotion we've ever really seen from demons has been fear, which even then the story's kind of maybe justified as the demons just at that last, like, trying to demonstrate something to get sympathy out of people.
But also at the same time, I've got some suspicions myself about him being a demon, because they say that he's able to use human magic specifically, and that's not something demons can normally do.
Well, what's your theory?
I don't think he's 100% demon. And I don't know if he was born that way or something happened to him, right? Like a curse or a spell or something. But I'm wondering if he's A, 100% demon, and B, I really, really want to know what happened 60 to 80 years ago. Like in that intervening 20-year period, because something happened. Something big for him to switch from generally participating in town life, living beside humans, teaching the son of the Lord about magic and fighting.
Because he was living alongside humans for a while.
He was literally the fortress lord's mage.
He was fucking Gandalf.
Yeah. What happened? Because he's a pacifist. And, like, that wasn't necessarily directly connected to the Demon King's uprising, because he already says he, like, turned pacifist and didn't want to listen to the Demon King anymore. He was like, I don't want to kill people. So what happened?
It's like if Merlin from King Arthur suddenly became a serial killer.
Yeah. I'm so curious. God damn, it's heating up. It's heating up. I mean, here's the thing, though. It's not heating up any more than it has for, like, any other
No,
arc.
but world building wise, like, things are starting to get complicated.
Mm-hmm. But, like, I really like the author's ability to escalate and de-escalate between, like, every single major arc. Like, it doesn't feel like the tension of the arcs themselves is constantly mounting upwards, but it feels like we're just kind of seeing, like this,
like,
while the world building behind it goes up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because, like, a lot of other series, the tension of the series and the fights go up like that, right? But with here, we're actually getting some steep drop-offs after major arcs and then kind of slow builds. It doesn't feel like it's constantly getting harder and harder and harder.
I don't want to see this until the manga is absolutely done, but I would pay for, like, a lore Bible kind of thing for this series. Like, with, like, full timelines, like, descriptions and nuances noted.
Like the spy files from Spy X Family.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
More complex, because that's sort of a more fun one. But, like, you know lore Bibles.
Oh, yeah. I have several up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the fucking Assassin's Creed lore Bible.
I would absolutely be interested in seeing one of these once the series is done.
Especially because they just casually dropped in the fact that the only reason that he got the bracelet of, like, servitude put on him, the stone bracelet, which he consented to, by the way. He consented to letting humans place something on him that would allow them to control him. That the only reason he did that was because there was political tension at the time. And that this was the only place in the world, and it was literally showing how humans and demons could coexist together. Were there other demons in the city? Were there more demons coexisting with humans? What was happening? I'm so curious. I'm not even curious about, like, the outcome of the fight. I just want to know about the backstory.
Do you think there's redemption here for Mocked? Do you think he figures out what he needs to so he can live past this, or do you think he dies?
I would love it I think that if he did, it would make a wonderful counter arc to that first demon arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they tried to make a city for demons and humans, but it was never going to work because they were always going to massacre the humans, right? It would make a wonderful counterpoint if at the end of this arc, right, all goes well. Well, not all goes well. The Protector dies, right? He has to. He cannot keep going. The Protector dies. Macht undoes the Golden Curse and becomes Lord of Weiss.
That'd be an interesting ending.
I mean, I think if everything was to go perfectly, the Protector would become Lord of Weiss and Macht would be his advisor. But I think that's too optimistic for Frieren. And to be honest, I kind of like that Frieren takes the tack of, like, there's a lot of, and I understand because Frieren is supposed to represent this, and obviously she doesn't look old, but it's very much old people, like people who are elderly and who know that they're going to die soon, very much taking on well, I always wanted to do something, and I always said I would, and I don't have any time left, so I need to do it now. And I know I'm going to die at the end of this, and I'm reconciled to that. It's not sad. Like, I know I would have died regardless, so why don't I die doing something that I want to do.
But do you think that we're at the point in the series where we can have a good demon yet, or do you think that we maybe this, or is this maybe more of a string to dangle in front of us?
This is where I wonder if Mucht is entirely demon. Right? Because I think that this would be a great place to put in a redeemed demon. But then for the next several arcs, have unredeemable demons again. And something about Mucht has to be different. Different enough to allow it. Something about him. I think it's a good place to redeem a demon, but not on the basis of something any demon could do, because then going forward, they'll just try to keep redeeming them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has to be, if he's redeemed, it's something unique to him and his experience.
I also think that and this might be a result of having watched some of the anime now too, but I'm starting to see the demons more as foils for Frieren as well. Because Frieren, she certainly can empathize with humans and live amongst them, but she's kind of not got the same perspective as humans either.
She's out of time, much like the demons are. Like, she lives so much longer than humans do. Things change so fast, and Frieren's kind of response to that is half the time it's not worth it to keep up with the change, because it's just going to change again in another 50 years. But unlike the demons, Frieren empathizes and cares, and that's shown constantly through her relationship with Himmel the hero. And the constant flashbacks.
But even then, a lot of this ended up being retrospective for her. She really didn't fully process a lot of that until after he died, till she had a catalyst. Before then, while she was able to blend in amongst the party and exist there, not hate it, they don't hate her, and they like her even.
Yeah.
She wasn't. I don't think she mentally was part of that group until.
See, this is where I disagree with you, because she has shown that she could become friends with those who understood her when she was wandering with the group. She might not have understood truly, like Himmel and the priest. I forget his name. The Himmel and the priest, because they were humans, and she didn't understand how old they would get when she left. She knew exactly what was going to happen to the dwarves, though. Every time we've seen her interact with a dwarf, another long-lived race, we see that she does make friends, and her friends also, and her dwarven friends, to some extent, do already understand the strange perception of time.
Oh, the dwarves, yeah, definitely. But the humans specifically, like, to Frieren, like, at the start of the series, it's almost more like they were people she enjoyed being around, like drinking buddies that she met, like, for a month.
But that's not the point I'm arguing. That's not the point I'm arguing. What I'm saying is, the way you first described it made it sound like she didn't really connect to the party at all on a human level, right? That's just not true. She didn't connect to the humans in particular, but she connected to other long-lived races that have a shorter lifespan than elves, so she's not ever at any point on the same level of the demons where she's just not understanding. But Frieren also wasn't raised amongst humans, so when she joined a party with humans in it, that was her first experience with humans. She already knew how to interact with other long-lived species, like the dwarves.
Well, I'm not saying they're literally the same. I'm mostly comparing them thematically.
I don't think it works perfectly.
Well, agree to disagree, I guess.
But yeah, I still don't know where the second core is going to end.
Having watched part of it, I'm pretty sure it's going to end at the exams.
At the end of the exam or at the beginning of the exam?
I think it'll be the end.
Okay. That's an interesting place to end it. It's a good place to end it because that's their entrance to the Northern Territories.
I think it's going to end at the exams, and then if they do a season 2, it's not going to be like the full 24 2-core episodes. It'll be one 12-episode core, which they should have enough for by around then, given that Japan should be a little bit ahead of us, I think.
Here's the thing, though. Up to the end of the exams, that's book 4 or 5, right? We have had a lot of stuff happen since the exams, right? Not all long arcs.
Is book 4 or 5 the end of the exam?
Yeah.
I thought the exam was like a full 3 volumes.
No, it's 2 volumes.
No, because we skipped a volume, but the exam started in a volume, we skipped a volume, and then we ended the volume on an exam.
Okay, but that would still mean 3 to 4 volumes left full of stuff. I don't think that they would be able to cover all of the smaller arcs, and then this bigger arc in a 12 core. I don't think it would work very well.
They're covering about 2 like smaller arcs, like a full episode.
I don't think it would work well. I just don't. I don't know. We'll see when season 2 is confirmed, because it better fucking be confirmed. All of you, go support this goddamn anime and get a season 2 confirmed. We're depending on you. Obviously, our audience base is not big enough, but if enough of us band together,
it's gonna get confirmed.
I know, I'm making a joke mostly. But yeah. And hopefully, by February we'll know the ending of this arc. Should end in the next book. So far they haven't really dragged out any arcs too far. So, and it seems like they're kind of on a time crunch with the dude dying. Or getting older. Not dying, but getting older. So, I'm very interested in this, because I feel like Mocht is such a interesting character, especially because, and okay, back to story. There's a part where they go in and they see a bunch of adventurers and mages impaled on spikes and then turn to gold, right? And a couple of characters get into a fight with Mocht, and it seems to be very clear that Mocht does not want to be disturbed. He doesn't want people coming in and disturbing the city, or taking anything out of it, or anything like that. And so anyone who comes in, he makes an example out of them, because he doesn't want to fight more people. He wants people to leave him alone, or leave his city alone. Which to me is interesting, because if he feels affection for humans, why would he not want to be at least somewhat around? Could it be possible, and I mean this is really me stretching here, right? But this is the first thing that came to mind. What if his idea of protecting and preserving the city that fascinated him was turning it to gold? Gold that could not ever be changed? And he now wants to protect this space because it's interesting to him to walk around and look at.
That'd be definitely an interesting.
Or maybe on one more level, he does make a comment. He says he never turns the saucers and the cups to gold because the former lord liked the saucers and cups.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he felt that by allowing people in the fortress to die and things to change, he was not protecting the city? It's a stretch. But maybe?
No, that's a good theory. I wouldn't have thought about that.
It was the teacup bit.
He's clearly holding on to stuff here.
Mm-hmm. And he remembers enough that he has fond memories of the protector dude and raising him basically, and fond enough memories of the Lord Gluck to remember that he liked teacups and to keep them that way. So maybe he's trying to keep the city a certain way? And the kind of encroachment of the Golden Land outward is to prevent people from encroaching inwards onto this thing that he's created? I mean, it's a stretch, but I could see it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, that's just kind of a thought I had. Obviously. We'll see in the next volume. Theory, confirmation, or denial. Take your bets now. I don't know. Did you theorize about it a little bit? What were you thinking about Mocht?
Remember, it's been a fucking month and a half.
Yeah. But I gave a pretty good summary, and you've heard my theories.
Well, it's a lot of theories come from looking at the minutia of the details. I skimmed. I don't have the minutia of the details. I have the broad strokes here.
Yeah.
So I can look at where Mocht is as a character. If I had anything to say on this, especially because Frieren couldn't beat him, I might try to look at things on a thematic level and view mocked as a specific type of foil to Frieren.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm predicting his arc, maybe. Where I think... Because both he and Frieren sort of have a catalyst here that brings them closer to humans.
Yeah.
So, is he going to follow a parallel arc for Frieren, where he ends up more human, or is he going to swerve and fail where Frieren succeeds?
Could the change 60 years ago have been the death of the Lord?
Maybe.
Perhaps. And like the death of Himmel the hero.
But didn't he say he doesn't really care about the Demon Lord and all of that?
No. The Lord of Weiss.
Oh.
The Lord of Weiss. Gluck's father-in-law. The dude's father-in-law. Could it have been potentially his death?
Maybe.
And he kind of realized that humans pass too soon. And if he felt affection for certain ones, maybe he could keep them forever by turning them to gold? I don't know.
Shit.
That kind of fits into my theory.
What if, because remember, the catalyst for Frieren was Frieren being at Himmel's funeral and realizing she didn't feel very much at his death, and she felt really awful about that. What if it's the exact same thing here?
Where he was at his funeral, he felt too much and didn't like it.
I was thinking that despite feeling compassion for this human, all his life, he didn't feel any sort of despair or any sort of sadness at the human's death, and that's what got him.
I don't know if that would produce the outcome I'm thinking of. My thought when you had that thought was maybe he saw the funeral of the previous Lord Gluck, right? And he felt his emotions of loss that he didn't understand so strongly that he never wanted to lose something again from that sort of part of his life. And so froze it all in time in gold. And maybe he doesn't think about the difference between a living, breathing human and the golden version of them because his mind doesn't work the same way. So he doesn't see them as like dead. He sees them as permanently there with him. Two very different ways to take that.
Yeah,
both opposite to Frieren, though.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, like, what if he's trying to recreate the scenario as many times as possible of losing people in the city he's cared for to try feeling something?
And I'm thinking, what if he didn't want to lose the city in total, and everyone who intrudes upon the city with the thought process of taking something out of it or reversing it makes him irrationally unhappy because he would lose what he's been protecting.
See, I think the comparing him to Frieren here might be an interesting angle to take this at.
Yeah.
Because story-wise, that feels like that really contextualizes the purpose of this arc, story-wise.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. It would also make sense why he would be so welcoming to the stepson of the son-in-law of the Lord then, because it's a walking memory of what he cared about. Yeah.
Yeah, a long couple of months.
At least we're near the end of December. It is literally 2 months. Just 2 months. We just have to get through 2 months.
When does this go up?
Less than 2 months.
Okay, so this won't be like this hilarious scenario. I think the manga's actually ahead on the app right now, so people that have read the app might know. But
well, maybe I'll go and find the next book worth of chapters online and read it that way. Now I'm feeling a little
itchy to finish this arc.
Now I'm feeling a little itchy. Yeah. We'll have to see.
I do think this is like the biggest like world-moving arc as far as the world building goes since that first demon encounter.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. So I am absolutely enthralled in finding out what the next section of the story is going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, finishing this one and then moving on. So I guess with that being said, right, it is time for us to move on from this. And we'll see you next time on another Off the Shelf. Comment if you kept up with Frieren, either the anime or the manga. We don't judge.
Tell us how you're feeling about the anime right now.
Yeah, because it probably won't be coming out of the hat anytime soon because it's not done.
But there is enough of it to come out of the hat now.
Yeah, technically.
Because we're not going to be submitting the full thing anyways. It will be one core.
Yeah, technically, but it'll be a while even.
Yeah,
so.
No one's actively putting it forward.
So like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.